Hello, everyone. Today I'll be showing you how to play the Battat minigame in Deltarune. This minigame, especially compared to the other two, is very complicated, and the instructions do not give much clarity on how to play this game, which is why I'm making this video. But before this video starts, however, I would like to give a minor epilepsy warning because there are a lot of visual effects and color changes in this minigame, and it may be a little bit too much for some people. With that being said, however, let's get into this video. First off, just to quickly go over the basic mechanics, moving the mouse up or down will move the soul in the same direction with a slight delay. This minigame uses a microphone input, which in this minigame controls speed. Normally, the soul is very slow, but when making noise into the microphone, the soul travels faster. There's also a setting to invert this, making the soul really fast, and then noise making the soul slow down. I'd recommend turning on this setting because going fast gives you way more reward than going slowly, and constantly speaking into the microphone to go fast probably isn't the best for your lungs. With the basic mechanics out of the way, next off I want to talk about is the goal of Batat, which is to gain as many points as possible and to survive as long as possible. I'll start with surviving first, and all you have to do to survive is just to make sure your fuel, which is displayed in the bottom right corner of your screen, does not run out. Your fuel will passively run out over time and runs out faster when holding a cat with the mouse. You rapidly lose fuel when the soul is touching either one of the top or the bottom lines of the borders of the map, basically. And 40% of your fuel is lost when the soul comes into contact with these things, which are called batats. But from now on, I'll be referring to them as meteors. And the last point I want to make about fuel is that fuel does not run out faster when using volume to increase speed, despite appearing to do so. As you can see in this clip, I have two games of Batat playing at the exact same time. Both games are doing absolutely nothing, they're just moving forward the entire time, with the only difference being is that the top screen is moving at the slowest speed possible with no microphone input, and the bottom screen is moving the fastest with full microphone input. And as you can see, both games started at the exact same time, and they both died at the exact same time, which means that speed has no effect on fuel, despite the fuel gauge changing colors and shaking. And that is why I recommend going fast practically all the time because you would be missing out on free points by moving slowly. Okay, actually, one last point that I want to mention about fuel that I forgot to mention is that when the fuel gauge reaches 0%, you don't actually die immediately. Instead, what happens is that explosion effects start coming out of the soul, and if you do not pick up a fuel source within 1 second, you will die and then the game will be over. There's also another effect at 25% fuel, but it's just a smoke effect warning you that you're about to run out of fuel. The smoke doesn't actually do anything. With surviving/fuel out of the way, the next thing I'll be talking about are the points and how to maximize them. There are only two ways to gain points, those being through cats and the amount of distance you've traveled. And I'll only be talking about the cats as they're the main way to score points and the only way to regain fuel. And there are two types of cats, which I have named normal cats and point cats. For point cats, they are either green, have a colorful aura surrounding them, or just straight up have angel wings. When a point cat touches the soul, or when they are clicked on with the mouse, they disappear and reward you with fuel and points. And the amount of fuel and points that they give you depend on what type of point cat they are. Here, I've created a list of every single point cat, and before I say anything else, I just want to mention I would not recommend trying to remember all of these numbers and images that are on the screen right now. All I want you to know for now is that the further down a cat is on this list, the more fuel and points they give you, but also the further down a cat is on this list, the less likely they are to spawn, the more rare they are. And I just created this list for anyone who wanted specific numbers, data. As you can see, the list mentions every single cat and how many points they give you and how much fuel they give you. And I just created it for anyone who wanted specific numbers, and that so you could see what all the cats look like. The only exception that I want to talk about it's a minor exception, but I still feel like it's important, is this cat right here. This cat is the rarest cat out of all the point cats. And I know it doesn't really look like a cat, but it still functions the exact same way. You click on it and it gives you fuel. Well, it gives you points. And the fuel part is what I wanted to mention specifically because this is the only cat that doesn't give you fuel at all and instead actually removes fuel. And if you're not careful and you don't replace that lost fuel right away, you could die very quickly and very suddenly. While I still have this chart up, I want to talk about bonus fuel. If you pick up fuel that will set your fuel gauge beyond 100%, the game will instead just set your fuel gauge to 100%, and then the fuel will just passively drain as normal. But three of the cats actually listed in the chart actually set your fuel beyond 100%. The extra fuel is only displayed by the fuel gauge changing color and not with a dedicated meter. And any point cat that doesn't give extra fuel, these ones, will not change the fuel gauge at all until the bonus fuel runs out, but they will still reward you with points. Now, like 99% of the time, these cats are going to be created by the player. But how do you create these cats, you may ask? Well, that's where the normal cats come into play. They all look exactly the same, and the game spawns a ton of these guys, and they can all be picked up and moved around with the mouse. And they also have a unique interaction when dragged onto a meteor, a point cat, or itself. When a normal cat is dragged onto a meteor, the normal cat gets destroyed and the meteor turns into a point cat, which then can be collected for fuel and points. This is the only way to create point cats. Another unique interaction with normal cats is grabbing a normal cat and moving it onto another normal cat, which combines both cats and increases the level of the cat that you're holding. And yeah, these cats do have a leveling system, but don't worry, it's not too complicated. Simply put, each normal cat that spawns at level 0, and each time you combine a normal cat with another normal cat, it will increase the level of the cat that you are holding by 1. And you can repeatedly do this as many times as you want, over and over and over again. But as your fuel goes down, you are eventually going to have to drag this highly powered up cat into a meteor. And once you do, a lot of interesting things start happening. First off, the higher level the cat is, the more likely a rare cat will spawn. A rare point cat will spawn. And this skill is very hard, by the way. And even a level 10 cat basically guarantees a point cat with 250 points with a slight chance of even getting 500 points or even higher than that. Uh, and each level after that gives you more and more reward, more chances to get more rare cats. Secondly, crashing a normal cat that is level 1 or higher into a meteor spawns a little circle around the exploded meteor. And this circle is active for a very specific amount of time, and during that time, any meteor that comes into contact with the circle also turns into a point cat. And the circle's radius and duration both increase the higher level the normal cat was when it was crashed into it. An important note to make here is that even when the circle covers the entire screen, any additional levels to the normal cat will still increase the radius even further beyond the screen, even though you can't see it.